And we're live. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the Mojo Show, your real estate podcast where we talk everything real estate. I'm your host, Joe Mortgage.
And I'm Cup of Joe Mortgage.
This week's episode, we are continuing our series, actually wrapping up our series on open houses for the spring market. And this week, we're focusing on preparing your home to sell specifically. Super excited about the guests we have on today. But before we get to that, Joe, a little coffee talk this morning. First thing I want to talk about, though, if anybody out there, have you noticed our new intro? Have you noticed the new intro to the show? I'm sorry, but I really love it. Joe came up with the theme song, which I'm sure through copyright issues will probably be tagged on that.
We're going to get in trouble for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's a lawsuit waiting on that for the 8 people that watch the show.
Right.
But I love the new intro personally. I think it's awesome. Last weekend was a great weekend. It was Mother's Day.
Very special Sunday.
Did you guys do anything special, Joe, for Mother's Day?
You know, we did. We got up, went to church as a family. In-laws joined us too. We go to a local Argyle Community Church there in Argyle. It meets at the high school. We go there, and then we really had just a chill afternoon. And then we did dinner. Went back out, went to the Cheesecake Factory, and I haven't been to there in forever. But my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and the kids and I and Tina, we all went, made some phone calls, called my mom, and I did not call my buddy's mom. It's been a tradition. I've called her. So if Miss King is watching this later on, sorry, happy Mother's Day. But happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful mothers out there. Joe, did you do anything special, or did you make any special phone calls?
Well, my sweetheart, we ended up having a brunch at what's the name of the place? First Watch, I think it's called, restaurant, okay. Right? Great place for breakfast. I love it. So we all went there and celebrated Mother's Day with her family. My mom is no longer with us. Lost her about 1.5 years ago to cancer. So for all of you that still have your mom with you, please take advantage every time that phone rings and it says mom on it. Pick it up. Because I don't get to do that anymore. So to all of you that still have your mom with you, enjoy it. Please take advantage of even though I know our parents can rub us the wrong way sometimes, and we all know our parents, but take advantage of it when you can.
I agree. Once they're gone, it's the memories are what keep you going. But don't make that regret be I should have answered that phone one more time. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. My brother has actually gotten better at that too, Joe. I'm the son that calls my mom probably weekly. My wife says I probably call her too much. I'm a mama's boy. But my brother started trying to one-up me. And so, Chris, if you're listening out there, you still will not one-up me to mom. He's my older brother too. So I'm the baby of the family.
I always, every Saturday morning, would call my mom. We lived a few hours away from each other, but every Saturday morning I would call her and, we chat for a half hour, catch up on everything and stuff. So it was always a good time Saturday morning. But,
well, to all you mothers out there, thank you for everything you do for us as children, for our children, and especially for us as husbands too, because my wife has to still teach me along the way. So. We cannot say it enough. But Joe, let's talk about today. We have a great guest speaker coming on, and
super excited.
The last 5 weeks, it's been 6 weeks. We had one week delay in there, but last 5 episodes we've talked about preparing your house to sell it, open houses. We've had, what was it, Lucy? Was that Lucy last time?
Yeah, last episode had Lucy West on. It was a great show.
She does. Today, I'm really excited because we got somebody that, I know you'll do the intro, but he's got multiple years of experience teaching real estate agents how to level up and take their business to the next level. and success. So really excited to get his input on open houses. I don't know if he does them as much anymore, but I know his agents do because I've worked a couple of them with his agents. So I'm gonna let you do the intro, and then we can.
You just did it, buddy.
No, you get to do more. I just like to talk.
I'll go in a little bit more detail about him because I'm super excited to have him on. His depth of knowledge is I'm really excited about him sharing to everyone, whether you're a realtor out there or a homeowner that's looking to, put your home on the market. I think we're gonna have some great insights from him today. He's the owner of the Real Estate Station, been owner of that agency since 2008. Him and his wife are very active in the Argyle community there in Texas, along with other communities in North Texas. What I love, though, is he believes in sharing best practices and helping get the word out on other realtors' listings, not just his own. More importantly, that a realtor's job is to get their clients' properties sold or finding his buyers the right property. Dave and his wife, Kathy, are true believers in growing others to be successful in real estate. Please welcome to the show, Dave Salisbury, everyone.
Hello. Oh, that applause makes me feel more important than it needs to, Joe.
We like to make you feel important. Joe,
Yeah.
one of the things you don't know is Dave was the first person that my wife and I talked to that found us our first rental in Argyle in 2012.
Oh, wow.
When we moved. And then he found us our first house we bought and sold that first house for us. Wow. And then the house we're in now, he found that one for us too. So Dave and I have got a long relationship and really appreciate all of it he does and sacrifices that he does for our community. You and Kathy keeping Argyle beautiful. Kathy is a very big believer in that. And I love that part about your family, Dave. But I know I've talked a lot about you, but Dave, tell us a little bit more about you personally for the viewers and the people that will watch this later on.
Well, I started real estate in 2000 or 2002, long ago. And I was with Remax, believe it or not. I worked with Remax for a couple of years, got on the Remax Hall of Fame quickly within about 3 years of starting with Remax. I loved that. I always used to drive out to this little town called Argyle and, wreak havoc on these country realtors out here in their little office off of 377. And I just remember meeting Teresa Rather and then her asking me to buy the office in 2008. And it was perfect timing on her part because everybody knows that's when the market took a crash. But it was great for us too. We had a big REO business back before anybody knew what that word meant and was able to weather the storm. Just always had a divine path, basically. And we have actually two offices now. We have the office in Argyle. We have one out in St. Joe. St. Joe reminds me of literally Argyle 25 years ago. It's really cool feeling to go through that again out there, just like we did here when this town was emerging. This town was just all big parcels of land and no subdivisions back when we started out here.
Yeah, well, even in 12, when we moved there, it was still not many communities. If anything, you had Settlers Point, I think, was the only one in Country Lakes.
Yeah, that was literally the only neighbor. Yeah, it's crazy. Everything else was a ranch or a big piece of land. So it is wild to watch the evolution for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then you also had two kids that went to Argyle.
Yep. Luke's at OU now. He is actually just finished his second year, his sophomore year, so he'll be a junior next year. And Caitlin graduated 3 years ago from college, and she works for Corrigan, an architectural firm now. So they love Argyle. Argyle is a great school district, so it's a great place to be.
Joe, another little fun fact there is Dave. I got to help Caitlin buy her first house.
Yes,
so I appreciate that, Dave, for bringing
it down in Austin.
Yep, she bought it in Austin. I think she's looking to move one of these days. So if you're looking in Austin, call Dave.
Yeah, we're literally
that house will be
get that thing listed and get it sold. So
there you go. Well, Dave, I know you help out a lot of agents and really teach them things to do. This series has been on, open houses mainly, trying to talk to agents, especially newer agents or agents that are, in this market with higher interest rates, they're still struggling to try to build clientele. And so we've done this series just basically to bring back some teachings. And so having you on today, really want to know, what are some of the things that you do prior to an open house to get it built up to try to get foot traffic in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the pre-marketing, honestly, because if you don't do that enough, you're going to have a very quiet open house. And I think people undervalue that a lot. It's actually unbelievable. I will make a statement about open houses. To me, if you're a new agent or an agent that doesn't have enough business, you do an open house every weekend until you can't take it anymore, where you've got so many buyers, you don't know what to do with yourself. So don't ever blame not being busy as an agent if you're not out doing that. I mean, to me, that's like, don't give me any excuses. Here's the deal. Nobody likes it, or some people do love it, but some people don't like it. But the bottom line is that's the grind. You got to do it until you're successful. Then you can decide whether you want to do open houses or not. But pre-marketing to me, one of the biggest mistakes I see is people listing an open house or starting to pre-market a day or two before. That to me is just like spinning your wheels in the mud. I mean, you've got to get out there. My cutoff is a decision by Monday for the following week, because I want to start marketing that far out. I mean, we're talking about posting on MLS, which automatically puts it on realtor.com for you. It shows up on realtor.com. One of my big things is doing a Facebook ad, getting an ad out there at the open house. Sometimes we'll do a pre-open house video, just a quick 20-second video. Hey, we're doing the open house this weekend. And creating an event also on Facebook and invite people to the event. So, I mean, those two or three things really make a huge difference right there. Putting a sign out in the yard, a couple days before that says open house this weekend, so that people driving by can see it. I think that's a huge thing. Sharing with other agents. I mean, literally. So all my agents, we don't dictate anything in this world because it's a free world and people are 1099, but we highly suggest everybody has a business page. You have a personal real estate page, you have a business real estate page. So, going to your business real estate page, announcing your open house, but also sharing that on your personal so that people will see your business profile and just say, hey, I'm doing an open house. So you have a different sphere of influence on all those. And one of my big things I'm really, I really push hard with my agents, and, we really try hard at sharing each other's stuff. So one of my agents might share something, I share it. I've got this group of friends, they've got that group of friends. And, you can call that syndication, networking, whatever you want to call it. But there's nothing easier or cheaper to do. It's free on Facebook. So that's a huge thing. And then spending time with your clients, telling them, hey, we've got to make this thing look good. Drive up appeal. As soon as they park the car, what are they looking at? As they're parking the car, do we have fresh mulch in the beds? Is the flowers? Is there trash cans behind the house? I mean, I could give you an endless list of that. Trust me, because there's a million things literally to do. And then talking to them about the inside of the house being decluttered, having a little area that you're going to, call your open house desk, your area that you're going to kind of hang out in as people come in, and staging that, setting that up. I think that those are all huge things. Making sure the house is clean. I really hope people don't have cats in their open house, but cat boxes, things like that moved. Just setting it up, making sure it's ready to go. That's a big part of it.
You brought up a great point. The animals, having your pets out of the house. Like we have dog kennels. We need to make sure that we pull those dog kennels out of the house so that way they're not showing if possible. We had agents talk about that. Decluttering is a big part during that open house. When it comes to the pre-marketing, would you suggest also going in, a couple of days before and letting the neighbors know that you're going to be running an open house, to see if getting some of their friends to come out to it? Maybe they know somebody that's coming in, or do you think that is something that you can do more targeted on social media?
Well, no, I don't think anything's a waste of effort, no matter what. But putting a sign out in the front yard 3 or 4 days before lets the neighbors know, because as well as I do, you drive down the street, you see something new, you're like, ooh, what's that? So they immediately are seeing that. But yeah, it's never a waste of marketing, because those other people are going to see you working, and they're going to make a decision what kind of agent you are. And you might potentially pick up their listing if you do these things and they are like, hey, this agent's very proactive. Something has to set you apart. You have to be different. Everybody knows a realtor. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean,
it's kind of like a lender. Everybody knows a lender too.
Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because there's no need. Yeah, those relationships, that different thing that you do that makes you stand apart. And I tell people, my agents, 99 or 95% of the agents out there won't do that extra step. That's all you got to do. Just do that extra piece, that one little, the Cajuns would call it a lanyap, that one little extra thing that'll make it happen.
That +1, love it.
Yeah.
Dave, question for you. I mean, getting it all set up, beforehand, I think is so important. The cleaning of it, signage, everything. But what about at the open house itself? What do you do to really, make those that come in, the visitors and that, comfortable? And I'm also I'm curious, what do you do to get their information to be able to follow up with later?
So
it's kind of a two-part question, but
no, it's all good. I mean, there's lots of parts during it also. I have some points I'll go over, but I'll answer your thing specifically. There's a lot of great software out there. Joe is like the mecca of some sort of gadget or system or software that does something. I'm old school. I literally have a sign-up piece of paper. And it literally says sign here. All I really want is their email address and their name. But there's electronic ones you can literally sign in, and it'll actually do there's CRMs out there that will literally follow up with those, and you can put people on a drip campaign. You can get as deep as you want. There's a software that's the people who make the money in the real estate business the most, are the ones who sell stuff to realtors. So you don't need to find the gold, just sell the shovels. But literally, there's a million software programs out there, but I like the old school piece of paper. I like to write it, down. I'll write it down if I can get their name or number. So that's important. And making sure that the house temp is nice and cool or warm based on what time of the year it is. Mm-hmm. I like to have some waters out. I mean, as corny as that is, because people talk a lot, especially me, during open houses. Making sure that, this is a killer thing. This is that set you aside thing.
Nice.
And I don't know. Sometimes I question when I give away things, but I want to do it. Have a list of MLS properties that are similar to your open house, even if they're not your listings. Staple your card to it and say, hey, if this house doesn't fit exactly what you're looking for, here's a list of other houses. Now, here's the key to that. You tell them to drive by, and if they like it and they want to see it, to call you. That way, you're the one going and showing them the
that's
property.
good. Yeah.
That's bam out of the park when there for you folks.
There you go. I like that. But I think it also does, the counter to it, because if you have other homes that are similar, but maybe not as nice of a curb appeal, that makes yours stand out even more. So they might come back and be like, oh, we drove by that house. It doesn't look the same as this one. Well, that's why I wanted you to see it. So I think it could do both.
Hey, look, if you're really doing your job right, if you truly understand real estate, you understand there's only about 3 or 4 variables that affect whether you're going to sell that property or not. And if you've done your job, your house is priced right according to either location, condition, age, whatever. You're not scared to share the other ones with people, because they're going to go by and go, well, this one's $100,000 more. Well, yeah, this is why. Or this one's $100,000 less. Well, yeah, here's why. Sharing those other listings, again, that's that extra step where people are like, oh my God, this guy knows what's up, what's going on. I also like to try to have 2 agents there, because a lot of times we get caught up and I'm in a conversation with somebody over here. Okay. And I'd love to have one of my other agents. I try to have one of my newer agents so they can be there while I'm there. And so they can talk to clients or show the house when I'm not available. And I also always identify if somebody has an agent or not, because the conversations are different. And if you don't know how they're different, you should. because it's a legality issue with somebody who's represented. And people think that, oh, you just don't want to be nice or something, but I just don't want to give factual information to somebody about a house that contradicts what their agent tells them. I mean, it's their agent's job to educate them on the house, and it's not a matter of whether I want to give the information or not. I just don't want to tell somebody a water heater's new and then they find out it's 2 years old, and to them 2 years doesn't mean new, even though we all know that it's new because they usually are 10 or 15 years old. So, I mean, just little verbiages like that can get you caught up in stuff. So it's always good to identify agency, make sure that there are any questions at all. Just make sure the house is ready to rock and roll. It's comfortable.
Yeah. Well, that's, we talked about open houses, and Joe and I both go to a lot of open houses. I work open houses with different agents too. It's the same thing for lenders. If you're a lender that's working an open house, don't just go sit at the table with your computer up. Yeah. It's not that important to try to show them numbers right there. You should have your flyers that show some types of loans that qualify for that house, but be that support system for the agent that's working the open house. Go and talk to other people coming in, gather their information, tell them about the house. And if you didn't walk through and know more about the house than the people coming in, then you're not doing your job to be a support for the agent that you're working with if you're a lender. It's not our job just to try to qualify somebody, get an application. That's not the reason we work open houses. We work open houses to support Dave and your agents.
Exactly.
So like you take a newer agent with you. We work a lot of open houses with newer agents, so we're there to support them the same way. So anybody listening, if you're one of those ones that want to sit there and try to take an application, you're doing it all wrong, and you're not supporting the people that you need to be there for.
I always tell people it's like dating. I mean, literally, if you're sitting down in front of your computer trying to get their social security number, how weird or awkward is it going to make somebody feel? It's like, let's talk first, let's meet, and that interpersonal relationship. That's the number one thing that's lost in today's real estate, honestly, because everything's automated. We all have all this reach out things and it contacts them for us. And I mean, we literally lose the art of interpersonal relationships. And that's why I feel like successful agents are successful, the ones who go that extra step. And I can tell you look right down the line of my number one producers, they're all they're great at interpersonal skills.
I would say a couple of your number ones are not the greatest at social media presence.
Right.
I love Jamie and Jim, but their social media sometimes. I'm like, Jamie, we need to work on this. Jamie's one of his agents, and
Jim hates it too. I mean, Jim hates it. Jim just wants to be left alone, and he loves his is all about interpersonal relationships. I mean, every business connection he has. Same thing for me. I think new agents that are out there generating new business, that's their gig. But once you're in this for 5+ years, you should already have a pretty good network. If you've done your job right and people like you, you should already have enough network where that business is just residual, one way or another.
You bring up, sorry, Joe, you bring up some other things. Knowing, like, if you're a newer agent, your whole mindset of an open house is to try to get people to come through so you build a database. Yeah. Are there certain things in certain areas of homes that you might not look at doing an open house? Rural areas, bigger farm properties, things like that. Would you tell them to shy away from doing an open house on those and try to focus more on a neighborhood to, newer agents to build a database? I just didn't know if the big farmland open houses work as much as, neighborhoods.
No, I mean, it's a great point. So here's the thing. In my office, every agent's allowed to do an open house on any listings of anybody's in the office. If you're selling a property, you're representing a seller and you're not open to anybody doing an open house, you're a very closed-minded individual. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but our bottom line is our job as a seller's agent is to sell the property. So if you've got some young agent in your office that's all about promoting it, why would you not let them promote it? I mean, that's right. They're out there doing it. So we have a standing rule, Monday, review what listings we have. If you're a newer agent, you're calling me going, hey, this is the ones I'm going to do this week. We did 5 open houses last weekend, literally. Isn't that crazy? Wow. 5 open houses, different locations, different agents. Wow. And I'm not trying to, pat myself on the back for that. I'm just saying that's how much my agents are into the open house gig. So Monday, you're reviewing all the listings. You've got to be strategic. Okay. So you're not going to be doing $5 million house for an open house. First of all, if it's my listing and it's $5 million, it's not open to the public regardless. And my sellers are, they're private people. They don't want everybody traipsing through their house. So that's the other thing. So find a high traffic area. What we do is I actually have people go into MLS, pull up comps, see how many listings are selling in that area. If it's Country Lakes or it's, Harvest or wherever, there's a ton of turnover and activity. You got to pick winners. And it's not offensive to the house because it's a ranch out in the middle of Bowie, but you're just not going to get people that are going to show up for that thing in out in the middle of Bowie, Texas. First of all, they'd probably be scared to drive up the driveway because it's, 500 yards off of it. And you're just not going to get the activity. So be smart, pick winners. Yeah. Pick ones that are in areas where people are actively looking. A ranch out in the middle of nowhere is a destination location. Hey, that rhymes. I like that.
You're gonna market that one, huh?
Yeah, I might use that. I'm gonna write that one down for office meetings. So it's a destination location, and it takes somebody specifically looking for that. If you're in a neighborhood where they're, production neighborhood or more often purchase houses, that's going to be much more productive for you. So yes, definitely.
Well, we have a special comment. I mean, we have to share this comment, Joe. I'm going to show it. We got Miss Kathy, Dave's much better half, saying hi and listening in. So Dave, you'll get some critiquing from her in a little bit, probably. But Kathy, thank you for listening.
I had no idea I knew she knew I was doing this, but I had a hard time finding it prior to you and I getting the right link. So yeah, congratulations, Mrs. Salisbury. And she was at a doctor's appointment. So
good. Well, we do appreciate it. And Kathy is one of my biggest supporters. She always talks highly about me, and I really love her for that. And I'm in the snow. She's in the snow. Where's she at?
I don't know. Did she say something about being in the snow?
Yeah, she did. I gotta show that one. She goes, I'm in this. Where did it go? Oh, I missed it. She goes, I'm in the know. She misspelled snow.
Yeah. Yeah. She's on it.
There you go. Well, I want to kind of wrap up the topics that we're talking about. For agents that go to the time to do these open houses, to market themselves and try to get these homes done, what are some of the top things that you suggest that they do with this data after the open house? What are some best practices that you teach your agents to do with those after the open houses?
This is a good judge. It's funny when I talk to agents and I'm not there and I don't physically see it, and I say, hey, how'd your open house go? Because and again, Joe, you said I'm good about teaching people. Sometimes I kind of keep some things close to the vest, but I'm going to throw another one out there. As the owner of the office, I ask my assistant, I have Misty and I have Ashley, one of my top producers, to help me with a lot of stuff. I have Ashley give me Misty put on my calendar everybody's open houses. So I call them before, email them, text them, try to talk to them during, but also follow up with them after. Sometimes you hear them go, oh, it was really slow, or I had 5 people walk through and 2 of them had agents. And I'm always following up with them saying, okay, great. If you didn't get a lot of it, if they didn't have an agent and you didn't get their name and number, we've got to work on your coaching and teaching of your interpersonal skills. Okay. Because if a guy's walking through a house and you've already found out he doesn't have an agent, because that should be your, one of your first goals is, hey, you're working with somebody, however casual you can do it. It doesn't have to be an uptight thing. No, I'm not working with anybody. Oh, that's awesome. We sell a lot in this area. However you're getting to the point of getting their contact. If you're not getting that contact and there was 10 couples through there, that's the part you need to focus on. So after you've had their contact, if you have an office and, everybody's got different deals nowadays, there's 10,000 different brokerages and setups nowadays, but your office should have a strong CRM and your customer management system. You should be able to go and take their name and put them in there. And that's your follow-up system. We have one that actually has a drip campaign. So it'll start reaching out to them. And I always want to find out somebody's intensity. Ours has an AI system where it's asking questions. How soon are you buying? What are you looking for? And if they're following through the process, it literally rates them and tells you, hey, this person's a 90 or above likeliness they're going to buy a property. So
Wow.
those are the people you pay attention to every
Yeah.
morning.
Right.
Oh yeah, it asks them the questions for you. It's awesome. Love it. So I tell my agents every morning, follow up on your CRM. All you do is look. It tells you, I mean, we can see when people came in, what they looked at, how long they were there, where they came from. I mean, how can you not have relationships when you have that kind of data? But getting them in the CRM, very important, because even if you don't have time, which you should make time, but if you don't have time, your CRM is doing the work for you. So that's one thing. Second one is I call people who already have an agent too. Hey, Susie, don't want to use anybody's specific name. Hey, Susie, I noticed that your clients were in the other day. What did they say about the open house? Getting that feedback. And then here's the kicker. You ready? This is that extra piece. Giving the feedback to the sellers. Hey, these other
There you
people
go.
came through. They said it smelled like a dog. They said they didn't like your backyard. It didn't have any grass. I mean, what specifically was wrong with why somebody's not buying the house? I mean, look, again, I try not to make it simple, but it is simple. It's price, location, condition, and they all affect each other. So if somebody tells you we hated the backyard and you hear that 5 times, there's a problem with the backyard. So getting that information back to your sellers. Hey, 10 couples walked through, 5 of them had agents, the other 5 I'm following up with. You've got those people in your CRM. Hopefully you're reaching out to them and saying, hey, I noticed you were at the open house. You either qualify them in that or disqualify them for it. Well, if you didn't like that one, what can I help you with? And try to make sure you're making that connection with them for sure. And then, that other agent relationship, it's always valuable to have other agents as your friends. I share other agents' listings. I share other agents' open houses. Guys, you're not going to lose any business because you promote another agent. I promise you. As a matter
You
of
might
fact,
pick up more business.
I was going to say, here's the other side of that.
Yep.
I've been doing that for 2 or 3 years. I now have other agents that share my stuff constantly. So if you've got another agent that's a high producer sharing your listings for you, I mean, that's how you get to be successful.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's great points on all that stuff. And one of the things is when you're at an open house, if ask the clients or ask the people coming in just to fill out the information. Hey, just leave me your name, number, or email address. It's not a hard conversation just to ask it. And don't feel awkward about asking it, because if they say, why do you need it? Say, well, I have to show my sellers who's coming through their house. It's a security thing too. You can make it whatever you want, but don't make it awkward. Just say, hey, I would love to have your information. And we tell loan officers the same thing. Ask for the information every time.
That's a huge point, Joe. It is a good thing because the sellers want to know who was through the house.
Yeah.
We're not trying to, and I ask people, I say, hey, I'm not going to bother you if you don't want me to follow up with you. But if they're actively searching for a house, they're in the house. So you would think that they're actively searching for a house. So don't be ashamed to follow up with somebody that, you have to either qualify or eliminate. And that's one of the things that newer agents struggle with the most. They'll spend a lot of time with people that had an agent, didn't tell you they did, or are just tire kicking to the point where they're going to be I always rate A, B, C buyers. If they're an A, if I find them what they need, they'll sign a contract right now. And B, they're kind of looking, and C, hey, they're just looking, and you should keep them in touch, but don't spend your daily efforts on them. So,
well, guys, I know we've already gone over time. Amazing how fast this goes, right? And I know the two of you could probably talk for at least another hour.
My wife always says I over-explain. So,
I really appreciate you coming on, Dave, and explaining everything. I mean, your depth of knowledge. I really do appreciate your insights and sharing it with our listeners and all. If anybody wants to get a hold of Dave, talk further, have questions or anything, you can definitely reach him at the phone number below, so that you can get with him.
Or you can go to the website, therealestatestation.com. They're in Argyle or St. Joe. And then also you do a lot in Valley View. So everything that's, Argyle and North, they do a ton of stuff in Denton County, Cook County, Wise County. Great agents, great people that you want to get to know. So Dave, thank you again for always being there for me to support. And also thank you for coming on today to share. So,
Oh yeah, it was fun.
but yeah, we do have some more comments. So
when you're so popular that you don't have time for me, try to squeeze me into when you got that 1 million+ people following you.
Yeah, when that happens, Dave, we'll make sure to bring you back on and say he called it. He called it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, again, thank you. It looks like we got a couple of great comments. People really appreciate, our listeners really appreciating the information that you shared with us today, Dave. So again, thank you for coming on. Next week, everyone, we're actually going to launch into a new series, 6-part series. I'm really looking forward to this series because we're going to now take you from preparing your home for open houses, doing open houses, to now into mortgages and different types of mortgages, depending upon the buyer, depending upon the property and everything. So we're going to start a 6-part series starting next week. So be sure and tune in next week at our usual time, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you, everyone who got to listen in today, comments and stuff. We truly do appreciate. If you want to catch up on any of the past episodes, go to our YouTube channel, the Mojo Show Real Estate Podcast. And while you're there, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button, because Joe and I are on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know we can do it with your help. Any last words, Joe, before we close this out?
Thank you for everything you do, Joe. And thank you, Dave, again.
Yeah,
See you guys.
All right. Well, I'm Joe Mortgage, and that handsome guy with the beard is Cup of Joe Mortgage, and we'll see you next week.
Mr.